Okay, so the second part of this is sorry, I flipped them around ahead of time after I stopped here. So there's your front, you flip them around back. There is your battery pack there. There's an on and off button. So basically it's really simple. You just take your finger, drop down. Now, I'm fortunate enough on this one, the actual fabric attachment's on there. If it's not important. And basically your 9-volt connector, move it. And then if you look all the way in the back there, there is actually a screw that needs to be unscrewed. It's one size, so you won't get confused with the other screws that are in your R2-D2. However, a couple of things. If you're going to put it in there, make sure you're laying R2-D2 on his stomach or his front half, because it'll be easier to get at that screw. But for the most part, you just take your screwdriver and you're going to go in there and basically just unscrew that screw. So, again, I'm a little, I wouldn't even say rusty, guys. I haven't really tried to work on something and be on camera at the same time. So anyway, you just unscrew. It'll come out. Give it a little shake. Nope. Not working, fellas. Technical difficulties here. Now, if you want to use your magnetic screwdriver, that would help too. But anyway, shake it out. Pretty simple. It's out of the hole. We had cut the bottom sticker, remove the two side legs and their screws, remove the inner screw here. So the next part is we're going to open up R2-D2 and look at his guts. So basically, we're doing some dissection remote control style for R2-D2. So basically, guys, just so you know, I'll close this back up, because you're not going to need this for a while until you're going to test him and then screw him back together. So we'll flip R2-D2 down, throw him on his backside, and then basically how we cut this screw here, R2-D2, if you go on the side, he may be a little stuck, but as you go through, you're just going to lightly pry him open. I'll start from this side, work your way around. Again, try not to force anything, but usually once the screws are out, it should usually come apart pretty easy. I'm making it seem easier said than done. Again, I'm doing it with one hand. I could use both hands and pull at the same time. Oh boy. Okay, hold on a second, guys. There we go. Okay, comes off. So if you look in there, there's just, they're almost kind of like side tabs up in the corners. And those are going to fit, again, similar to right in those corners, okay? So as we look, we took the cap off. There's the screw from that back by the battery panel that holds this front half on, as well as the sticker underneath. So I'm going to set that to the side. And then here we go on R2-D2, okay? This is what your R2-D2 is going to look like when you look on the inside. So before we start looking even at the head up there, what I want to show you is there's two metal motors, okay? So these little metal motors control the cogs. So if anybody have dissected any of your vintage Star Wars toys, so vintage, I'm talking 70s and 80s toys, they have little RC motors that actually create noises by spinning, and they rattle little plastic tabs in your vehicles, and they actually make them make those the laser sounds, usually kind of noises, okay? This is similar, little different motors, little smaller, but basically what happens is those spin, and then at the side they spin these gears, okay? And then once this is engaged, these bottom gears, feet will move, and I'll show you that. So what I noticed on mine, they weren't even spinning. So when I put batteries in here, they weren't working. And part of the issue is that these just got seized up. They're old, you know, we're talking, 30 plus years, 40 years on these toys. So they need a little TLC. So the nice thing is my brother actually borrowed me some lubrication oil for his razor, believe it or not. And I just put a small little drop on each of those, and I constantly kept spinning them. So mind you, I used the old gears, okay? So I left the old gears on there, and I just kept spinning without even turning it on. And then what I eventually did was I put batteries in the back, had my remote control with the battery that takes a 9-volt in the bottom. I'll show you. And I had all these batteries in the back, and I would hold this down and I would spin the gear. So basically with two hands I was holding this and I was doing the foot, which you push up for the body gear, okay? And then I was spinning with my right hand, spinning, 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 and then eventually they broke free. And then they started spinning on their own. And then once I got it to spin, I realized it wasn't moving. It was spinning, but the feet weren't moving. And like I said, I showed you before, it's because these plastic cogs had a crack in there and it wasn't making full contact to spin the leg cogs, okay? So again, look at the motors. They are probably frozen up and need to be lubed, okay? So that would be your second thing. So first problem, more than likely, is your plastic gears on the outside, okay? You may have to have a magnifying glass to actually see if there's a crack in the cog teeth. If there's not, next thing I would check would be these motors here, because most likely these motors have seized up because they're older, okay? So once you do that, you lube it up, you replace your cogs. The next thing you're going to want to look at is R2-D2's head spins and he makes an annoying little beep. And it's very, very tough to see in there, but you see there's some multiple cogs. But the one you see on the right hand side is a big plastic cog, similar to the one on his feet. The difference is it is a different size cog. So like I was talking about your needle nose pliers, this is where the really tedious part gets in. So what you would do is with your needle nose pliers, you're going to have to literally, oops, we'll flip them on his back. So we'll get a little, try to get a little more light in here. So you would take your needle nose pliers and you would literally have to go in and remove that cog off of the track. You just kind of pry it up off of there, and then what you would do is get a replacement cog and you would slide it back over. That's a little, I want to use Toy Polay's word, a little fiddly. But anyway, that gear can be a little tedious, especially since I did not remove R2-D2's head. You do not need to replace that gear. And if you notice, that gear will sit there also. The other thing, I was very fortunate, but underneath that gear is another motor. So you can see it back here. This motor is almost identical to the motors, see the red and black wire coming out of it, that are in your vintage vehicles. Same thing, I put a piece of lube in there. I had to kind of lube it up to get it to spin. So again, similar to as the leg motor, you may have to unseize up this motor as well. But I had two problems. I had the cog was broken and this needed to be seized up. That's why I play with it a couple of days and then put it down for a while. Pick it up, so that's why it took me some time. And as we're looking here, there is a screw right there. Okay, that one's pretty easy to get at. And then I'm going to go right in here all the way to the back. You guys can probably see the screw that's in the back there. And I will run the screwdriver in there and show you what I'm talking about. It's not really working, guys. I'm kind of screwing things up here. So basically, all the way at the back of this R2-D2, I'm going to move it here, guys. Don't freak out here a sec. I'm going to rotate it and move it and get some more light here. Okay, sorry. Alright. So we'll turn him around, get a little better light. So, this screw, it's all the way in the back. It's not really working either. Let's try a flashlight here. One more time, guys. Technical difficulties. Boy, be a little more prepared, huh? Okay. Let's pop this light on here. I'll do a flashlight. See if that makes a difference. So all the way in the back of that R2-D2 is another pain in the neck screw. And I say that with all the love because it was a headache until I got my, there we go, he got it better. So all the way in the back of the R2-D2. That's where your magnetic screw is going to be important, your screwdriver. You're going to have to take that out. And the reason why is, it'd be kind of easier, just remember all these wires are connected. So you'll have to remove that as well, and that's where you'll need the electronic screwdriver to put it back in. So anyway, you can take that out and that'll help you unseize the motor down there, okay? So I use that to help unseize that. So anyway, long story short, guys, those screws, that one there and that one in the back there will have to come out to remove R2-D2's head, okay? So anyway, sorry, I'm kind of rushing through this. So anyway, once you remove that, you can take R2-D2's head at to unseize that motor. But anyway, that cog pin, again, is a different size than the 2 leg pins, okay? And that one is, okay, so we're looking at a 1.95 8-teeth, it's an 8-teeth gear or cog, and it's a 1.95 millimeter hole diameter. So if you notice, the hole is much larger than the leg holes, okay? So there is a difference. And underneath here, right by little kid, he's got a, so you can see the crack running all the way down that headgear. It's almost blackish in color, like it was stained with oil or something. So anyway, that was the old gear that I had to replace on that head as well. So again, you get a 1.95 millimeter dimensional hole for the headgear, okay? So again, you replace that cog and you will replace the head and it will spin. So basically, that's the R2-D2 in a nutshell. You need to replace those or remove those screws to get at the head, unseize the motor, replace the gear there, replace the 2 gears here on the legs, make sure the motors are unseized, and you should have a pretty good luck putting your R2-D2 back together. So I'm going to do this on camera here real quick. I'm not going to screw it together, but it's really simple. So my R2-D2, I would recommend putting it on your its back. The front plate, it kind of just fits on pretty snugly. You can snap each side into place. It'll snap into its gears, okay? And then what you can do is, if you want, go back in through here, and we'll do it. We'll pop this battery cover down, and I will get my screw here. We'll use the magnetic to place it into its spot. Okay, oops, alright. Let's get our standard screwdriver, Phillips. Not a good gear for you guys to see me screw it in. Okay, let's do it upside down because I'm really killing it on camera here, guys. I don't know, they make it look so easy on YouTube, you know? I'm getting you seasick, I don't mean to. So basically, anyway, long story short, I'll tighten it up here in a second. So let me just tighten it. That's just killing me. Okay, so once I do that, okay, so my body is attached now, okay? So then what you'll do is just some things. You take your D batteries. If you don't have your sticker, okay? If you don't have the sticker on the inside of your R2-D2, most of the time you do, but just remember the right-hand side, the positive side goes towards the wall, okay? And then the negative side will face you. And then this is the little tough part, is of course you have your 9-volt battery. And if you want to have some fun, stick your tongue on there and you get really know you're alive, right? Like, anyway, long story short, little mini taser for your tongue. So trying to fit the battery on here, snap it in, and then what I just do is you tuck it in, okay? Pretty simple. I'm sure you all know how to put 9 volts in. So snap it closed, R2-D2 is good to go. And what we'll do the legs. So if you want, you can put them on a side, whatever's easier for you guys. And then again, remember, when you put these on, when you're putting the legs on, remember you're going to look for the tab in the front. That will determine what side the leg goes on. So basically, snap it into place, okay? It'll fit in the gear, and then what we'll do, flip them over to the other side. Okay. Again, we're looking, there's the front tab, right? On that, that's going to go right in over here. There we go. Snap in place, guys. R2-D2's there, okay? So he's starting to look like a droid now, right? Not just guts like a Jawas ripped them apart, right? Okay, so bear with me. Okay, so we're going to put the screws back in on the side for their legs.